Ladies and gentlemen, my humble greetings to all of you. Today I would like to share my thought about technology and ideology. To put it in the right sense, technology versus ideology. How can our insights about a distant past and a distant future will help us to understand the current situations exactly? What's happening right now around the world? What are the great challenges? What are the great challenges and the choices today in this world? These are the pertinent questions. We have to seek answers for those questions. In the previous century, during the 20th century, the world had seen many ideological battles. The great ideological battles between fascism, communism and liberalism. After the collapse of the fascism at the end of the Second World War in 1940s, after the collapse of the communism, because of the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1980s, liberalism came into existence at the end of 20th century. And in a liberalism, democratic policies, human rights, and free market capitalism, they actually have seemed to conquer the entire world. But what happens to liberalism now? The liberalism is in a jam in 21st century. So where are we heading to? Liberalism is losing its credibility due to technological revolutions, particularly the twin technological revolution. What are the twin technological revolutions? One is information technology revolution, and another one is biotechnology revolution. Here, one thing can be noted very interestingly, because of the merger of the information technology and the biotechnology, that merger has given a child known as artificial intelligence. These technologies might soon push billions of people out of the job market, and that would undermine the liberty and equality. The artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, and the big data analytics are creating the digital dictatorship. This digital dictatorship in which all the powers are concentrated in the hands of few elite, while most of the other people would suffer not from exploitation, they would suffer something far worse, irrelevance. Human thinks in stories. They love stories. They think in stories rather than facts, numbers and equations. Every person and every group and every nation in this world, they have their own tales and myths. The fascist story explained the history of a struggle between one nation with another nation. One nation is oppressing the another nation by way of violently waging the war against the nation and killing people and taking that country as a slave country and treating those people of that country as their own slaves. This is the fascist mentality or fascist ideology. And communist ideology uh, it is a story of that story explained as the history of a struggle between two different classes. One is the working class, the another one is the capitalists. One is the proletariats and another one is the aristocrats. So always struggle between these two classes. The working class used to say that the communist ideology that both capitalists and working class are the people are the equal partners in the process of producing goods. So capital alone is not enough. Without labor, capital will become idle. So in that way, the working class used to claim share of a profit. So they say that both are equal partners in the firm for producing goods and goods. So in that way, that struggle. And third story is a liberalist story explained, a struggle between the liberty and the tyranny. That struggle. So the liberty and the tyranny, that struggle and treating, people, those who want liberty and the people, those who don't want to give freedom, so that struggle. So through liberalization, privatization and globalization, this liberalism environment is working, and in that liberalism environment, they think that this LPG throughout the world, that would alone give peace and prosperity to all the people in this world. And coming to democracy, democracy is based on Abraham Lincoln principle. So Abraham Lincoln has said about the democracy. Democracy is by the people, for the people, and of the people. So democracy is the government by the people, for the people, and of the people. That's what Abraham Lincoln said. Universally accepted principle for democracy. And he also said that one can fool all the people some of the times, and some people all of the times, and you cannot fool all the people all of the times. So that's what Abraham Lincoln said about the democracy. So the people are giving power to the government, and the government is expected not to misuse that power. And the government, and there is a popular saying in English that all of you may be aware of that. Power tends to corrupt. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So when the government is corruptive, when the government is not fulfilling the election manifesto or promises given to the people, and when the government is not giving good governance to the people, and when the government is not improving the standard of living of the people, naturally the government would, the people would replace the government in the next elections. If the election is free and fair election, definitely the people would change the government, replace the government. That is what is happening. So in the liberalistic environment, how that liberalism works in the political field and in the economic field. Coming to the economic field, at a national level, free market, privatization, and lower taxes. These are the three mantras at a national level in order to bring that liberalism in a working condition. And at the international level, it is free trade, so borderless trade. So beyond the borders and boundaries, the trade should be conducted. So the globalization of the trade and global agreements and lower of the tariffs and free flow of investments from one country to another country, free flow of investments. These are all the working of the liberalism in the economic field, both at the national level and international level. And coming to the political field, at national level, there must be free and fair elections, and There must be a rule of law, and people should obey the government orders. That is there. And human rights ought to be protected, and minority rights ought to be protected. These are all the things at a national level. But at the international level, there is a world level organizations, and establishing the organization at the international level, and framing the international laws and bilateral agreements and multilateral agreements in order to bring peace and prosperity to the citizen of this world. This is the political field, how the liberalism works at the international level. So coming to the particular point that in liberalism, infectious diseases kill people more than old age. It's a very good example. Almost 16 or 14, 16 months over. The COVID-19 started. So, this COVID-19 has killed billions of people throughout the world. So, this is an infectious disease. And people are dying every day. We do not know when that corona story will come to an end. We do not know. So people are dying, and people are saying that the first wave over and the second wave has come, and at the end of the second wave, people are talking about the third wave, and so that infectious disease in the liberalistic environment, infectious disease kill people more than the old age. And similarly, in a liberalistic environment, famine kill people more than obesity, right? So famine kill people more than obesity, and in liberalism environment, definitely the violence and terrorist activities kill people more than accidents. So this is what happening. So many deaths are happening because of these things in the liberalistic environment. Okay, and coming to the technological revolutions, and the technological revolution is very dangerous, and the technological revolutions definitely would soon push the billions of people out of the job market, and that would create a new mass of useless class. That is going to happen because of the technological revolution, and that would have its own impact on the political and economic field, and that would create a lot of disruptions to the society, disruptions to the politics, and all that would happen. And these existing ideologies do not have any knowledge about how to handle the technology revolutions, and we have to think about it very seriously. And coming to the job market, what type of job market, and what job market would look like in 2050. 2050, I mean 2050. Imagine, suppose in India today there are 1,000 children are born. Today, 1,000 children are born, and in 2050, they would become 29 years old. So what type of job they would be looking for, and what type of jobs they would be getting? This is the question. And for that question, my perception is, majority of the 1,000 children, when they grow and reaching 29 years, they would be useless people, and they won't get any job. They would become a jobless people. Only few in the sense, just 5 or 10 people may be getting a job because of their own skills. But whereas the other people do not get job. So this would be the situation. What is the reason? Already we have that experience that people have. There are two kinds of skill people have, abilities they have. One is the physical ability, another one is the cognitive ability, right? Uh, the physical ability, in the past we know, the history we know that in the past the machines were able to replace the people, those who were doing their job with the help of the physical ability. In agriculture, in industries, because of the automation, because of the machineries in production, uh, the people were replaced very simply because they are expected to perform only with the help of physical skill. So machines have replaced them. Some of the people have not been replaced because they have some edge over the machines because they had some cognitive skills, the cognitive skills which are very much required for the service sectors like learning ability, analytical ability, communication ability. These are the cognitive skills or cognitive abilities. So the people, those who possess that cognitive skills, and the machine could not replace them because those skills are especially the skills of the human beings. Okay, but now there is an introduction of the artificial intelligence. This artificial intelligence will have all sorts of that cognitive skills, including understanding the feelings and the emotions of the human beings. That is the speciality of the artificial intelligence. And here I can give an example. You can understand about myself, but you cannot understand about myself more than what I understand about myself. And I cannot understand about yourself fully, thoroughly, what you understand about yourself. But nowadays, the artificial intelligence would understand myself more than what I understand about myself. And the artificial intelligence will understand about your caliber, your desires, your preferences more than what you understand about yourself. So this is the artificial intelligence, because whenever we are sitting in front of the screen of the smartphones or the screen of the laptops or computers, the biotechnology is working like that, and biotechnology and the information technology, that artificial intelligence watching our eyes, watching our emotions, watching our moods, and they understand very clearly. So what type of preferences we would be having at a time of happiness, what type of preference we will have at the time of sadness. So whether we are sad or happy, easily the artificial intelligence understand the feelings and the emotions of the human beings. So that will definitely slowly begin to outperform the human beings. So the artificial intelligence is actually beginning to outperform the human beings, and we can give many examples for that matter, may slowly replace the human drivers. So there would be self-driven cars everywhere throughout the world. So there will be some benefits also, because the human beings they have their own lapses, they have their own disadvantages position, because they having some emotions and they would drive carelessly, and they at the time of driving they may watch mobile or sending messages. Because of that accident may happen, and drunken drive may increase, the deaths due to accidents. And when artificial intelligence is introduced in order to replace the drivers, human drivers, and all the cars and the vehicles are not human driven cars and self driven cars, automatically the number of accidents would be reduced drastically, and the many deaths due to accidents could be avoided. So the artificial intelligence slowly replacing the human drivers, and it would slowly replace the human bankers. Already ATM machine and deposit machine have come, and internet banking, mobile banking, and all. And so many banks are having many number of branches and many number of people are employed. Today is the SBI annual day, and SBI has said that nearly there are 250,000 employees are working around many number of thousands of branches, and ATMs and cash deposit machines, CDMs are there throughout the country. But in spite of that, such a number of employees not at all required, and drastically the number of bankers would be reduced. The artificial intelligence would replace the human bankers, and it would replace the human doctors. The doctors would be in a need only for making surgeries, that too for important surgeries, and a replacement of the organs and transplantation of the organs. Only for that purpose the doctors may be in need of, but for diagnosing and for prescribing medicines, human doctors not at all necessary, and that would be the human doctors would be replaced by the artificial intelligence, and that is going to happen. And similarly, with regard to engineers, that would happen, and with regard to lawyers, human lawyers, not at all required in the future, and very particularly the soldiers, the human soldiers, not at all required. Why at the time of a war we have to lose valuable lives of the soldiers? When we make use of the robotics and other artificial intelligence technologies, fighting can be done only with that technology, and people lives may be saved. So definitely there is going to be a replacement in the army side. The soldiers would be replaced by robots, and similarly, even recently I viewed YouTube. Last week I viewed, and in that YouTube I have seen that the entertainers, the human entertainers who usually entertain the people, but now we cannot find any difference between the toys or robots and real persons. We cannot find that difference. And in that way, one video I have seen. In that video, just 10 minutes video, a dance program, and very amazing program, very perfectly done. But the lady and gents both are toys, both are robots. So, but done very effectively. And in the news I studied that nearly 4 hours the people were waiting for watching this not human entertainers and robo entertainers. So this would happen. So the human entertainers would be replaced by the robots, and already in cinemas these technologies have been introduced, and in a large scale there will be the replacement of the human entertainers, definitely, by way of introducing the graphics and artificial intelligence technology. Definitely that would happen. So what not? So that is going to happen automatically. All ideologies what existing today, maybe fascist ideology or communist ideology and liberalistic ideology, religious ideology and political ideology, all ideologies would become irrelevant because of this technological revolution. So in front of the technological revolution, all these ideologies would become irrelevant. People will not profess religions, irrespective of the religion, all religions, because they have become a useless people, jobless people. That is the thing. Okay, so when all ideologies become irrelevant, definitely the governments and the world should focus about some aspects. Particularly, I give one example. The communist ideology. What is the communist ideology? The communist ideology, the people, the working class, the communist plan, political plan is to create a working class struggle. The working class struggle. So they cannot think about the working class struggle because there won't be working class at all. And when there are no working class, how the communist plan will work out? So it is the case for liberalism and fascism also. So they have to think about their own survival. People would think about their own survival, and the world should focus this particular aspect because it is very difficult to handle the technological revolution. Okay, and coming to, in order to cope up with these technological revolutions, definitely new ideas or new developments should happen in the social field and economical field, and the government throughout the world should focus on new development of the social model and political model and economical model in order to safeguard the human beings. And they have to prepare those models by keeping the guideline principles of, protecting the humans rather than protecting the jobs. If you are not able to protect the jobs, at least all the governments in the world should protect the humans in that countries, in various countries. In that way, the global level, the world should focus in order to provide the basic needs of the human beings, and in order to protect their social status. And coming to the basic needs, there are two aspects. One is the universal basic income, and another one is the universal basic services. The universal basic income is the capitalist paradise, and universal basic service is the working class paradise. So because universal basic income means you will be getting income without any job. You need not do any job, but you will be given a universal basic income. And another one, you have to get your income only by way of doing a service or job. So these are the two things. And when we think about a biological perspective, the basic need is around 1,500 to 2,000 calories required for every person per day. That is the basic need. Food. 1,500 to 2,000 calories, which is very much essential. Anything more than that is luxury. Anything less than that is unfair. So that is the basic need from the biological point of view. Whereas in the social point of view, social status point of view, they must be given not only food, all the people should be protected by way of providing shelter and a decent education and adequate health infrastructure, and very essentially nowadays the internet facilities should also be provided. If you are not providing a job, at least in order to protect the social status, all the human beings are to be given all kinds of that facilities to protect the social status. So the humans are to be protected, a new ideology to be developed, and the 21st century bridge is shaking actually. And those who have crossed the bridge already, they are in the safe zone. Those who are not yet crossing that bridge, or those who are not able to cross that bridge, they are stuck in the wrong side. And new generations, those who are coming, the next generation, they would also be finding difficulties to cross the bridge. If the governments at world level not thinking about framing new global level policies and creating global level organizations, international organizations, in order to protect the prosperity and the peace of the human beings. So already many countries, advanced countries, they are providing good welfare measures if they are not getting any job. In that way, almost all the countries have to adopt. For that purpose, the global level, these policies are to be framed, organizations are to be created, and putting every step, right step is very important. much more important than speedy progress. So in that way, very carefully, all the countries have to put efforts to escape from this technology revolution, the technological attack, particularly the artificial intelligence attack against the human beings. And for that purpose, in the case of, in the place of digital dictatorship, we must think about digital democracy. We must think about digital equality and all. In that way, the entire world should think and safeguard the human beings in the world. So the humanity is more important than any other thing. So almost I close my topic. This is Markandayan signing out. Till we meet again through another video. Thank you so much.